Tonight, we're going to be watching something that is a little different than Paul. This is going to be a Lolcow live video because those are always so popular. This is from a couple months ago, and it's going to go over the healthcare CEO
2024, our society is...
I also edited this down to be like just the parts we want to see.
Oh, good.
Murder happened, and everybody's seen the footage, right, of this CEO getting assassinated. And now people are cheering for the shooter. What were you saying, Wings?
I said this has to be the shooter because Luigi was at my house on December 4th helping me put my tree up.
Wait, so you support the shooter too?
So Wings is based right off the bat getting into this.
100%.
Oh no. Have you ever heard of a little thing called the Boston Tea Party? Have you ever heard anything about called the American Revolution? Sometimes this is how shit gets done.
So Boogie and Wings seem to have like kind of a based opinion of this. Wings is like, he seems a bit more extreme. He's saying that this is just, we're in the midst of a Boston Tea Party like event here with the healthcare CEO.
Putting profits over people, those people might react, and we don't endorse that on the show. I don't personally support that.
America was founded on rebelling. And everybody, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever party denomination you want to identify as, understands the American healthcare system isn't good. The fact is nobody knows how to fix it.
Okay, but what is this?
He knows how to fix it.
What is this going to do, though? All this is going to do is promote people that now there's two now. Now all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh yeah, let's do that. That's what we're going to do. And that's going to cause like a ripple effect. Whatever happened to peaceful protest?
Peaceful protests.
Yeah.
Now they're cool.
Hey, I'm in favor of peaceful protest.
Boogie would support Luigi, given his multitude of health issues.
I mean, I think most Americans support Luigi, honestly.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm surprised that Keem had no idea.
This is an interesting clip because unlike the last couple of clips we've watched where Keem is just a complete, like, and utter villain throughout, he actually does seem to prove to us that he's able to take other perspectives into consideration and change his view on it. I watched the episode when the same day that Trump made a complete ass of himself in front of Zelensky.
You don't have all the cards.
Yeah, that kind of disgusting, gross, exploitative mob boss shit that he's trying to do.
Why aren't you with a suit?
Yeah, he has his fucking sycophant.
Oh, Taylor Green's boyfriend?
Yeah, was that who it was?
Yeah, it sure was.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Well.
He winks at him. All right, it's your turn. Disgusting propagandist sycophant. Not a journalist.
No.
It's so incestuous, their whole cult around him. Everyone's
intentionally so.
Someone's fucking someone's girlfriend, you know. Laura Trump, who's the RNC chair, is one of his kids' girlfriends, and it's like the nepotism in the administration is just out of this world. But I did watch it to see what the reaction would be, and it's basically Keemstar just being really excited but saying that it's uncomfortable, and he doesn't have any pro or anti-Trump thing to say about it other than that was really uncomfortable. Wasn't that uncomfortable, everybody? And they kind of just go past it real quick. So there's nothing really to react to with that.
Get us anywhere. Do you remember Occupy Wall Street? Do you remember all of the...
I'm going to go a little more extreme here, Boogie. Germany's in a whole lot better situation since Hitler died.
True.
Okay, first of all, don't say the H word on the...
Keem doesn't want to get demonetized.
Yeah, if we can avoid that, thank you.
Can you be careful?
Does YouTube demonetize for Hitler?
Yeah, guys...
I feel like I've said Hitler like 1,000 times in like the few videos we've done.
There's two scenarios where this plays out. Okay, there's one where a few more CEOs get hurt, which God, we don't want that to happen. Or a bunch of these CEOs continue to profit gouge and use that to buy bulletproof cyber trucks and surround themselves with armed guards, which is probably the one that's going to happen. Let's be honest, because the last thing they're going to do is pay for your fucking medical care or pay for your fucking.
Here's another thing.
They're not going to fucking do it.
Here's the thing, and I don't advocate for shooting or hurting anybody.
Just to be clear, neither do I.
I understand it, but at the same time, these companies are too comfortable stealing and killing your loved ones. That's what it is. They're too comfortable with doing that. And everybody sees it for what it is. It's a pushback saying, look, we are actually in charge. We are the consumer. Stop killing us.
Well, I did put out...
We will rebel.
I did put out
Or we will rebel. So I kind of have like... First of all, what do you think of the morality that... Do you think that it's good that Brian is dead? Forget about is it good, like the vigilante assassination or whatever. But you think it's a net positive for the world that Brian is dead.
What I understand, yes.
Here's my there's been a lot of talk about this, but there's something that's missing from the discussion, and a lot of people will point out like, well, Brian was evil because he killed all those people, right? And he was one of the people behind the AI software that automatically denied claims or whatever. You know, and I agree with all that. He's totally a mass murdering piece of shit who deserves to be dead. And there's another aspect to it though that doesn't get talked about, and that's that these companies, these CEOs, they spend a tremendous amount of money to buy political influence in Washington, right? To basically steal your representation from you. So is not only a mass murdering piece of shit who was killing people by the thousands with his callous and sociopathic policies that he implemented, or at least helped to implement, was a part of, who profited off that mass death. But he also used that wealth as a weapon against you. These people are at war with you. This industry in general is at war with you, but these people who go into Washington and who buy influence, you know, these are the same people that pollute. It's the same class of people who do away with like regulations for, you know, the meatpacking industry, for example, or the FAA. These are people who are always going to put their profit, their personal enrichment over you and your good, because they're completely sociopathic and they absolutely need to be. If we're ever going to take our country back from the oligarchy and from these people who just, like these vacuous vampires who are never satisfied, suck the life out and the wealth out of our nation. And so it's not only a good thing that he's dead so he can't kill more people, but it's a good thing that he's dead so that he can't continue to erode our political system.
I said, why are people supporting the killer? And everybody made it very clear that it's eat the rich. So I put out a tweet. Maybe some of you have seen this before.
And again, it's not just eat the rich, right? I feel like that's an oversimplification because I don't hate all rich people, right? I don't think that, I mean, there is definitely a class war, but I don't think that just being part of the upper class makes you a combatant. It's the insidious way that Brian accumulated his wealth and the insidious way that he wielded his wealth in order to ensure his power and the continuation of that system that gradually gives you less and less rights.
But I now identify as a peasant. I am poor, I'm very poor.
I like how Keem is trying to Keem and the woman, her name is Glammy. She was a host for like a minute or something, but they're trying to bring like levity into it, and Wings is like just dead faced, like waiting to say something based. I know.
You are wealthy, and I know just about how wealthy you are.
I'm poor.
You ain't got nothing on some of these CEOs.
I understand that you guys, and Wings is probably lead the revolution, but you guys are trying to do like a French revolution where you take all the rich people and chop their heads off and stuff. I am poor. I just want to make this clear. Clip it. Tell everyone I am poor.
So it's not just, it's the fact that the class war has gotten so out of hand because of wealth inequality, the fact that the upper classes have used their power and their access to wealth to beat down those who are under them, to constantly make life worse for the people that are under them, to take their power away, to take their freedoms away. It's gotten to this point, right? And I kind of look at it like anyone who has kind of like a difficult time understanding the morality of like, did Brian deserve to die? Is it a good thing that he's dead? You know, and is Luigi a murderer or a terrorist? And I don't know. I think that a pretty good argument could be made that Luigi was acting in defense, maybe self-defense. I don't know the full situation with how UnitedHealth affected him personally, but if not self-defense, in defense of others, right? Brian was a mass murderer who was going to continue mass murdering people for certain. And if you're in that position where you can either continue to allow this mass destruction or you can act and stop this mass destruction, you have a choice. It seems like a simple thing if we just take away the the violent crime out of it and we just look at it as a choice of either do you do option A and allow this to continue, or option B and stop this. And again, I'm not an advocate for people to go out there with guns and start. That's not what I'm advocating for. Let me say illegal. That 1,000 times, definitely. Don't advocate for that, but I'm saying disavow. That what do you disavow me not advocating for that?
No,
so you
I disavow.
Do advocate for that.
I disavow the violent actions.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I don't know if I disavow it. I think it's pretty based, but I don't advocate for it.
But of course I disavow.
Okay, let's look at it this way, right? Chimos, right, should probably not exist, right?
Are those like Chicoms? Oh.
Chimo.
Fredophiles.
Okay. No. Oh. Not a PDF file, right? Because a PDF file just means someone who's attracted to a chimo to exist has to have moda chai, right? The definition of being a chimo means that you have moda chai. You have already committed that offense, right? So by merely existing, it's like a tautology, right? You can exist without definitionally meeting that criteria if you are that thing. And I think that if we look at it from this analogy, and just bear with me for a minute, I think most people can understand a little easier if we talk about a chimo rather than a. But I don't think they're terribly dissimilar, and that's kind of what this argument is going to build up, because if I know there's a chimo, right, and that chimo is going to continue to mow chais, the ethical thing to do is to stop that from happening. If you have the power to, you stop that from happening. And ideally, we live in a country that values, the rights of that respects the bodily autonomy of everyone and doesn't allow for anyone to be mowed, but especially chais, right?
Right.
And so the state would step in and stop that from happening, right? Our government, our collective will as a society, and say, no chimos allowed, right? And all chimos are going to be removed from our society.
L chimos.
Right. So now, but in some cultures, right, there are chimos that it's totally legal. Okay, so there are institutionalized methods of mowing a chai, right? In some cultures, they're more open about, child slavery. I'll edit that. There's, and you can see like Epstein, and there's a reason I'm saying chimo. Like, no. I'm gonna every time I don't say chimo and I say the actual thing, I'm gonna edit it. But there are some institutions, right? There are some countries where it's legal to be a chimo. And I think, I'm just saying there are some cultures, we can look at Afghanistan, for example, and see like the culture of having like the young boys. Sometimes for some of the Taliban guards, there are stories about United States soldiers who were stationed there who witnessed that and who would...
Is that chimo or is that conscription, indoctrination?
Well, I'm saying it's an adult who's having a relationship with that child, and that's culturally institutionalized. It's still, that's what I'm saying. So they're still mowing that chai, even if it's socially acceptable to do, right? We can agree that even if it's legal in that country, doing it is still wrong, right? Like, we still ethically feel it's wrong. And even though it's legal, it shouldn't be happening. Does that track?
Yeah. We can disavow their actions, even though it's legal in their culture.
Right. So even if it's legal for a chimo to exist and to continue their spree of mowing chais, right? And you have foreknowledge that they've done this and that they're going to continue to do this, even if it's legal, it's still the moral thing to stop that from happening. So it's possible to commit a crime and still do the moral thing in this instance, to still do a good, even though it's not legally sanctioned. And so I would say that, everyone understands how awful it is to be a chimo, how awful and devastating mowing chais are to the chais in question. They're the worst of the worst, basically. So it's easy for people to think about things in a more rational way with that. And when you start talking about a CEO, it's more of an abstraction because that's more of a gray area thing in our culture. But Brian was a mass murderer. He was going to continue his mass murder spree. And so I think that if we, that's how I would encourage people to think about it, is that even if the society that he's a part of sanctions his killing, sanctions his crimes, that doesn't mean they aren't crimes.
All I can think of when you kept saying chimos was 10,000 boys and chai tea.
Wow, was that Dracula Untold?
Yeah.
Yeah. 6,000 boys. Dracula.
6,000. There we go.
Saladin was a chimo, I guess.
I just want to point out, like, a fucking armored, suburban ain't shit when you got 1,000 people that can put that bitch on.
That movie's terrible, but Charles Dance is so good in it.
Awful.
Charles Dance, though. So good.
Rick and Stark needed a job after they cut him out of the show.
Yeah, I guess
before they killed him off.
That was the dude from The Hobbit, right?
Rick and Stark?
No. The guy who actually played Dracula.
Oh, Bard?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Rickon played the son, right?
Yeah.
His kid. One of the many 6,000 boys that he was trying to get back.
The guy who played Bard in The Hobbit Part 2 and 3 played Dracula.
Yeah.
Horribly miscast.
From chimos to Hobbit references, everybody.
this.
Vintage super chatted $20. Luigi made the world a better place.
Oh, come on
The CEO made an AI system that automatically denied 90% of all claims submitted to his company. He unalived thousands of people.
So when I watched this before, to edit this together, I fact checked that claim. And that's true, what they're saying here about the AI thing. So here we can see UnitedHealth uses faulty AI to deny elderly patients medically necessary coverage. This goes over, there's actually a class action lawsuit. This is just one article describing one instance of this. But it basically talks about how UnitedHealth illegally denied elderly parents who had Medicare Advantage plans. And if you watched our Project 2025 video that we did last week, we kind of go into the plans that Project 2025 has for Medicare and how it sort of cuts Medicare and Medicaid. But specifically with Medicare, the idea is to change it from the default Medicare program for everyone to Medicare Advantage. And Medicare Advantage is different in a couple ways, but mainly it requires a private insurer to approve your medical care when basic Medicare doesn't have that requirement. And it also has much higher out-of-pocket costs for the Medicare Advantage recipient than normal Medicare does. So this also relates to that. This is one of the ways that Medicare Advantage denies people healthcare. So, I'm not sure how much crossover there's going to be between this video and that Project 2025 video we did, but just to understand how all of this is connected. Project 2025 enriches people like Brian and the corporation that he works for. This is a lawsuit claiming that they denied people who had Medicare Advantage care they needed by deploying an AI model known by the company to have a 90% error rate, overriding determinations made by patients' physicians at that expenses were medically necessary. So basically the way this AI program works, it sounds like a physician or a doctor would say they need this necessary medical treatment and the AI model would deny them. And I read this article, so we're not going to read all of it verbatim, but basically UnitedHealth continues to systemically deny claims using their flawed AI model because they know that only a tiny minority of policyholders, roughly 0.2%, will appeal denied claims, and the vast majority will either pay out-of-pocket costs or forego the remainder of their prescribed post-acute care. Lawyers for the family are looking to represent all persons who purchase Medicare Advantage plan health insurance from UnitedHealth during the 4 years prior to the filing. So yeah, so this AI thing is true, what the chatter brings up for them.
I don't think it's communistic.
Official Ryan Urbana super chatted $100. My father is dead because they denied treatment for cancer. F the insurance companies.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so I edited through a lot of this, but basically Keemstar is getting a bunch of super chats from people in the audience who have been personally affected by loved ones they know being denied care. I know that, I'm sure and all of, whoever's watching this, I'm sure we can all think of someone we know who's had, who's had difficulties with health insurance or who's gone into medical debt or who's been preyed upon by these extortionist companies.
Even Jonathan in the audience.
Yeah, you too, John. And Paul. If there's an Amelia watching this.
It's just such a sad situation that it has come to this. People have been asking for an overhaul of the healthcare system for a really long time. We've had some band-aids to it, but they're more than glad to kill your grandfather, your father, you, just for profit. And it's not going to change any other way.
Now,
There's so many better ways to make change. There's got to be better ways. This just opens the floodgates for more people to do this every time that there's a problem.
I agree with you, Glammy.
Glammy, if people took that way and we didn't throw that fucking tea in the harbor, we right now would be speaking with British accents.
I don't know. I don't know if this is like this isn't like a revolution, right? This is vigilantism. It's not like an organized thing. But it is effective at bringing the conversation into the zeitgeist more about how these people are the scum of the earth and they're killing you and you need to fight back. And I'm not saying you need to kill them or anything. I'm saying fight back in ways that will not destroy your entire life, right? You don't want to end up in prison. That's making you less free, not more free. The whole point of fighting back is to obtain liberty that you're being denied. Who knows what it'll come to. Let's say that the revolution will be bloodless if the health insurance CEOs allow it to be, I guess.
Internet detectives discovered a secret code. Now, this is insane, all right? Think about the money. in the
This is this is the part that I think. Do you know about the Pokemon conspiracy related to this?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not Typhlosion. I got no idea.
No. It's not Typhlosion.
backpack, the manifesto, all these weird things happening. Now things are going to get really, really fucking crazy. Get ready for this one, okay? Now, the killer was into Pokemon or whatever. Not Pokemon. Pokemon. Okay? Check this shit out. This is fucking mind-blowing. All right. His banner is this Pokemon here, right? And someone says, I can't get over his banner. It's Pokemon. The surgery that is most likely that radicalized him. Like, bring up the surgery again. And this person
I
says,
remember
hey,
Breloom
just so you
being shown around, but I didn't know why.
Well, read this here.
know,
Too
Breloom,
small.
which is this Pokemon here, his Pokedex number is 286. Proverbs 28:6 reads, better is a poor man who walks in integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways.
That's a good one.
That's smooth.
286. Now it continues. All right.
This is like kitty nipples all over again.
What does 286 mean to the killer? Well, 286 is the denial code.
That's the part that's interesting.
It's the code of denial. So I think we're talking about like walkie-talkies and
No,
like
you're not talking about walkie-talkies.
Well, our insurance companies, they're
No,
denial codes.
that's insurance coding. That's for like when some. That's what that is.
so when
You
they
deny-
deny an insurance claim, it's 286.
Yeah, it is. So this is what I looked up.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So on Monday, police revealed 26-year-old was arrested. Police found that he was carrying a firearm. Fake news. Okay. The number 286 has caught the attention of internet sleuths. This is what we just looked at. Denial code 286 is applied when a healthcare claim is denied due to not meeting the appeal time limits. So it's a certain type of denial that happens when care is denied. You have a certain amount of time to appeal it, and if you don't appeal it, it's automatically denied, basically. This indicates that the healthcare provider or billing entity failed to submit an appeal within the designated time frame after receiving the claim denial. The claim is rejected for not adhering to the required appeal deadline. So just like an artificial deadline they put on like the amount of time you have to appeal a claim, basically, or appeal the denial of a claim. So just another way for them to fuck you over. Like we put this artificial limitation on the time that you have to appeal our denial of your claim. Otherwise, since you didn't follow that exactly, it's automatically rejected. And just shitty, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Bro,
Googling that, yes, that is correct.
So the combination of this 286 and the layers of the. Do you see why this is the most insane, interesting story ever, like of 2024? And he had
Man,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keem's energy really has changed.
Since the last one we watched. The last one we watched was more recent than this one.
No, I mean, beginning of the episode, the segment, he was like, "Do you really support this? Oh my God, Luigi's a mass murderer. He's a fucking felon, and now he's like energized and like, this is the best story we've heard all year."
No, this is clearly very calculated by him. He
Yeah.
picked the place that he wanted to get caught at. He put the Breloom in there. He was making sure that we all know exactly why he did this, because I think he knew they were not going to let him speak. They're not going to let him do interviews. He might end up getting deleted.
And that leads me to thinking, like, he wanted to get caught. Like I said, he had 7 days to go anywhere he wanted.
And
100% correct.
He,
Yeah.
went
He didn't go anywhere.
He went exactly 286 miles away from the scene. That's what he did. The family of Luigi released a statement and says they are shocked by his arrest. And
Justin Luigi Mangione's family releases odd statement, say they're shocked by his arrest, and say they have no information besides media reports. Statement was released by his cousin, who serves in the Maryland House of Delegates. The Mangione family is known through the Baltimore region. The family purchased another... so they own country clubs and nursing homes and shit.
one of his relatives is a politician. So insane. The grandfather purchased I guess, golf course in the 1970s, but they're devastated by the news.
It says they own a radio station that's right-leaning. They own an old folks' home.
So maybe not a liberal.
Wow, that's really interesting.
I don't know.
This guy is...
There's all these killers too. They have either like they're super hard right, or they have some weird kind of like mix of like liberal and right. Like
Get a
the
bomber.
dude that tried to assassinate Trump when we almost made it into the good timeline. He was like radicalized by like NRA propaganda and shit.
It's just so many factors coming together to create this very unusual person.
So yeah, but it's so complex. You figure, like, how does this one person get that way? How do you become this type of person like that. To
I
go
mean,
to
left
such
wing.
extremes.
You end up in left wing echo groups like Reddit, and
You hear that, people?
You hear that? Not enough Paul's ego spam, or enough Paul's ego spam. You hear that shit?
No. Yes.
I know. My brain always puts that in there, that Freudian slip. Like, it's not enough. It's never enough. You guys have actually been really lacking on the Paul's ego spam. We need more of it. But,
Well, it's the one that Paul reads, so.
well, he needs to make some more alts then. And
Though, to be fair, he probably blocks literally everybody in Okay Buddy DFF, so he doesn't even see any posts. He's like, that subreddit died, yo.
I don't know. But our left-wing echo chambers, like Reddit, breed these sort of assassins, I guess. So if I have any future assassins listening to me, I'm going to start publishing my death note on Sundays for those of you to take notes and go forth and do my bidding.
and you
Every Sunday morning,
genuinely like.
new death note
Obviously, he
going to drop.
has a personal problem, but then he will get reinforced by internet bubbles.
Guys, your thoughts, final thoughts on this.
The ongoing enough Paul's ego spam alchemist soil death note that just gets updated every Sunday.
I
I
understand
think
why
it's going to
people.
be. I think it's going to be the most fun year ever in 2025 because I'm going to be glued to this trial. Like my wife gets glued to every other trial in the book. The last trial I actually cared about was like the Sarah trial where she put her boyfriend in the suitcase.
Sarah trial.
I didn't know that was her name, but do you know what he's referring to?
The one where her teeth were smashed in and the limbs were cut off.
No, where her boyfriend like got into the suitcase as like a prank or something, and like she left him in there, and he was like begging for her to let him out, and she wouldn't do it, and so he like suffocated in there overnight.
That happens enough that I can't pinpoint where.
Why do people do? Wait, why would someone do that? Why would you climb into a suitcase?
I think Nick Crowley or Nick Spo did the video I'm talking about. Though.
Yeah. Nick Crowley probably did. That sounds right. Or that chapter. He's another good one.
This one's going to be
That
better. This is
chapter?
gonna be so
Yeah. He's an Irish dude,
fun to watch.
I think.
It's going to be a shit show.
I just want to say I think the message is very, very clear to the CEOs who are running these companies, who price gouged during the pandemic, the people who run these healthcare insurance companies. The message is very, very clear. Don't forget, at the end of the day, there are crazy people out there like Luigi, and it's probably best to just give people what they pay for.
Somebody made a good point. How much Monopoly money did he have in there? What if he had 286 bills?
Yeah, what if?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, change is what is really is important. Yes, but having change be done correctly versus being change that is done that harms others is.
Well, this is progress though. This is less harm, right? Like if you a health insurance CEO and that stops the health insurance CEO from killing 1,000 people, then you've saved hundreds of lives.
Now, don't tell me you believe in this incremental change over time bullshit. It has to be all or nothing.
I think we can very slowly make this change.
No, that's lesser evil thinking.
I'm just saying, maybe we make it, maybe makes a change, maybe somebody else makes a little change, maybe 100 people make 100 little changes, and then
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, the avalanche, really. Who knows? Maybe incrementally we can make a bunch of little changes, and eventually they'll run out of.
Is not the way to go. I think that we need to band together as
we change, and by change I don't mean them. I mean legislate them out of existence.
communities together and find out ways to make change that's for the better without hurting.
Yeah. Well, destroying health is for the better, and you are saving people. You are hurting less people than allowing them to continue to go on.
I show myself and all of its hosts and guests do not want violence and do not condone violence. Like
Same here. We here at Alchemist Soil do not condone violence. We are an anti-violence platform.
that at all.
I disavow violence.
We strongly disavow violence. Don't do any
violence.
Violence is not the answer.
We are again.
Don't do violence. Try to find ways to fight the war that don't involve you sacrificing your life.
Be a peacemaker.
Don't do that. Don't make peace. But try to find ways to fight the war that don't ruin your life.
Trump's calling himself a peacemaker because he wants to give Ukraine away. That was a joke.
Here, we'll end
Be
it
a
with
peacemaker.
shirtless Luigi. There you go. Do not do violence.